and silver could easily go between 29 and 35.
Hello, silver fans. This is T, and you're in the place to be for silver education, acquisition, and entertainment. Hey, thanks for watching, everybody.
Lior Gans, global economics expert. Hey, thanks for coming to my little channel on YouTube, buddy.
Absolutely.
And hey, let's get straight into it. There's a lot to talk about, and let's start with the Fed. There's policy changes happening all the time, and they affect us, gold and silver stackers, and the economy in general. Tell me what's going on with the Fed, my friend.
First of all, I have to say, I'm looking at that board behind you, and I'm like, are you trying to solve an Einstein theory over there?
No, those are all of my, as a matter of fact, thanks for the reminder. I'm going to turn my camera off. Those are all of my plans for future videos. So
Wow.
when I get an idea, it pops into my head, and, I throw it on the whiteboard and see what sticks. And then I'm not one of those people who is lacking ideas and making the same video over and over and over. Lots of ideas. I think that's one of the reasons my viewers enjoy the variety on my show and, the creativity. But when inspiration strikes, I go write it down before I forget,
Yeah, you're not one of those that emails yourself.
No, the emails are the bane of my existence. In my real life at work, I receive hundreds of emails every day. And the last thing I want to do in my hobby life and my T the Silver Stacker life is be inundated with emails, even from myself.
True. Okay, so what was the question?
We started Fed. What's going on, man?
Oh, yeah. So November 3rd, a pivotal Fed meeting. And in that meeting, this is not an oversight. I know that there was a meeting on December 13th, but I want to give you the caveat. November 3rd, there was a meeting, and that meeting really changed the risk reward in the markets, because Powell essentially said there'll be no need to further tighten. And we weigh the risk of doing too much now as anything else. So that was a huge pivotal meeting, and it sparked a massive risk-on rally in the markets and for gold and silver. Gold obviously ran all the way into that support, that resistance on the all-time high, and stocks rallied into new all-time highs, judging by the Nasdaq 100 and the S&P 500 is within spitting distance, and the Dow is in an all-time high. The December 13th meeting was very dovish, and Powell used phrases like "it's too early to claim victory," but it doesn't matter if you say it's too early to claim victory. The minute you make those words out of your mouth, then people start to think about that term in general, and so he knows that. So the way he messaged the entire meeting was very dovish, and it pointed towards more easing, and he didn't even acknowledge the run up in the markets. So it didn't to the Fed. That's not disturbing anything. And now the question really is, going into 2024, is the Fed a little bit too dovish? In other words, are we all thinking that in March they will start cutting rates, and are we premature to believe that? And maybe it's in May, maybe it's in June. And how many rate cuts are they going to do? So the first quarter of this year, the market will try to anticipate whether or not financial conditions have matured enough to where we can start to cut. And now we talk about the three scenarios. The first scenario is that we continue on this path of a soft landing, and basically inflation as a real concern is behind us. The over tightness in the jobs market is behind us, and so we can resume more normalcy in housing and any other rate sensitive industry like the banking system, and we can start cutting rates as soon as March. And in the soft landing scenario, you start cutting and everything is okay. We're past the big hurdles. The recession camp or the hard landing says that the cuts will come, but it will be because of layoffs and poor financial data, no growth, etc. I give that a 5% chance of happening. I don't see that happening. Companies around the United States have had 2 years to deal with the new scenario, and for the most part, they've done it masterfully, and we're now back at all-time highs. So, to me, hard landing 5%, soft landing I give it a 25%. I just don't see how the Fed cuts rates and all the excess liquidity in money market accounts and everywhere else doesn't come rushing back to the markets, and we get inflation creeping up again. So to me, the third scenario, which I give a 70% chance to, is called no landing. In other words, and I'm a pilot, so I can tell you a little bit of how it goes. When you come to the final leg of the circle that you do, I'm sorry, not the circle, the go around that you do before you land. At the final leg, what happens is, especially when you're just learning how to land, which is the most difficult part, is you try not to overshoot or undershoot. If you overshoot, in other words, if you come close to landing but you're too high and you burn half of the runway and just trying to get the wheels down, you're not going to have enough time to brake. And so what you do is you go around. And that's the no landing scenario. That's getting close to a landing, but then when you continue to cut rates, you get inflation, you go back up again. And in that scenario, inflation stays with us for longer than people currently think, the market currently thinks, for a few more years.
Wow.
And that is not good for stocks. And it is better for commodities. And in my opinion, that I give that a 70% chance. Because one thing you cannot change is demographics. And the United States has a very small generation to inherit all the jobs that are currently moving from the baby boomers onwards.
Sure.
And that's why you see, the Mexican border open to anybody that wants to come in, because they're trying to offset this. Obviously, it's a political decision to get votes and get Biden in office for the second time, but also it's because of the demographic situation. There's just too few workers for too many jobs, and the United States is reindustrializing. It's deglobalizing. So it's trying to deal and grapple with a generational shift in demographics, which bring fewer workers into an environment where you're onboarding and onshoring many industries and trying to dominate in new ones. I want to remind you that the United States right now is the cheapest producer of oil in the world.
Wow.
And that means that a lot of industries that in chemicals and plastics and in advanced medicine, etc., that are, before this would be looking for the arbitrage and where's the cheapest market to do this in. Now the cheapest market with the best business environment, best rule of law, etc., is the United States. So what I see is a no landing scenario, and that I think is not priced in. If it was priced in, gold would already be 2,300. The dollar will be a few percentage points lower, and silver will already be over 30. So in my opinion, when the no landing happens, I think we will see gold hitting 23 to 2,400 during the year. I don't know if it finishes the year at an eye like we are doing right now, which is pretty sweet. But at some point, before the market starts to price in this no landing, the shock will send it to 23, 2,400. That's my opinion. And silver could easily go between 29 and 35 depending on, it's a very small market, and it's very hard to really understand all the forces involved if there's a dollar debasement. But in my opinion, that's coming as well. So the Fed will either cut in March or May, and when it does, and they will see that people are starting to buy houses again, and the mortgage industry is coming back, and the amount of money still on the sidelines is just too big not to create further inflation with the shortage in workers if we're not entering a recession. All of that is the no landing scenario. And by the way, I did put together 2 exclusive reports. One is on gold stocks, which I think are going to erupt in 2024. Go to wealthresearchgroup.com/boom if you want to learn about that one. Unlike here in Tel Aviv, the boom I'm talking about is a good boom. And the second one is wealthresearchgroup.com/portfolio. That's my 2024 portfolio, which is just right now. I literally before we started this, I finished writing that report. So you'll be the first one to see it.
Well, I appreciate that. And every time you come on my channel, Lior, you drop knowledge for me and my viewers. You're really passionate about what you do, and I appreciate you sharing that passion with me and my viewers.
Thank you very much.